Okay. Oh, yep. I just got the notification. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Transcribe-a-thon. Thank you for being here for part one of the Transcribe-a-thon as we kick off a fun week of exploring the Smithsonian's Transcription Center collections. Next slide, please. So, this is our agenda for the meeting. Your SASE and ASIS&T teams will introduce ourselves and the project overall, why it matters. And then we'll get a little more into the how-tos of transcription. And as I said, hopefully have a little bit of time to try it out together towards the end. We're also going to try and schedule in a little bit of time for questions and conversation, just to get a feel for how everyone feels, as it were. So we'll have some time for that at the end. And yeah, so Transcribe-a-thon is hosted by SASE, the Society of American Archivists student chapter, and ASIS&T, combining SASE's focus on archives and history with ASIS&T's background in science and technology. I am Rebecca, the membership director for SASE, and the SASE contingent also consists of Carolyn, our chair, and Mason, our events assistant. We are so thrilled to collaborate with ASIS&T on this event, and I'd like to give a moment for the ASIS&T team to introduce themselves as well.
Yeah, so I'm Chris, and I'm the webmaster over at ASIS&T, which stands for the Association of Information Science and Technology. And today we're joined in the chat by our fearless leader, Kay, and Rana, who is our newsletter editor, but really she's our communications officer. So we're here to help out in the chat, and I'll be doing some of the slides coming up.
Yeah, so we're so excited to be able to bring this to you towards the end of the semester, hopefully not so close that there's too much going on, but just as kind of a fun little interlude with a really interesting and fun challenge of transcription. So on the screen now is a brief definition of transcription, which is creating an accurate record of historical documents as they appear, which includes any spelling mistakes or other errors, and any formatting as well. So I don't know if anybody has done transcription before for class or work or just for fun, but there's a lot of different volunteer transcription projects online. Like the Smithsonian, there's a bunch of others. Feel free to sound off in the chat if you've done transcription before in any capacity. SASE did a little example at our member meeting back in February. And sometimes like in different Discords or for different assignments, that kind of thing will pop up. So I think we can move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so the impact of transcription cannot be understated. It can be a fun, challenging activity and an important one for understanding history a little bit more completely. It enhances accessibility and makes new discoveries in historic collections, enables keyword level searchability, and creates connections across collections within the Smithsonian and outside as well. Since there are many collections that could benefit from transcription at the Smithsonian in particular, we thought it would be a great volunteer opportunity for us to kind of take this approach of the Transcribe-a-thon. The Smithsonian, they do encourage organizations to host things like this, so we are happy to explore that as well. Next slide. Perfect. So we wanted to share this quick video to introduce the Freedmen's Bureau Transcription Project, which is one of the Smithsonian's ongoing projects for transcription. This endeavor in particular highlights the difference that transcription can make. So I think we're going to take a few minutes to watch the video. It's about 2.5 minutes long, so not too bad.
My name is Camila Stinnett, and I'm a genealogist in the Robert F. Smith Explore Your Family History Center here at the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. The National Museum of African American History and Culture and the North Carolina African American Heritage Commission are collaborating to transcribe Freedmen's Bureau records from North Carolina. In 2016, the museum launched its Freedmen's Bureau transcription project in the Smithsonian's Transcription Center. Since that time, over 100,000 records have been fully transcribed and are now searchable. Congress established the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands in 1865 to assist in the reconstruction of the South and to aid formerly enslaved African Americans in their transition to freedom and citizenship. The Bureau provided food, clothing, medical care, and legal representation, promoted education, legalized marriages, and much more. The Bureau operated in the 15 southern and border states and the District of Columbia. More than 1.5 million records were created by the Bureau between 1865 and 1872. This includes thousands of records for the state of North Carolina. These records provide a unique view into the lives of newly freed African Americans and into the social conditions of the South after the Civil War. We need your help to transcribe these records, to keep providing unprecedented access to the records, and to transform our understanding of Reconstruction and post-emancipation African American life. For more information on the Freedmen's Bureau Transcription Project, and to find out how you can get involved in upcoming events in North Carolina, visit the museum's website at nmahc.si.edu and navigate to the Freedmen's Bureau Initiatives page. It's our hope that you'll help us transcribe these records and perhaps discover some of your ancestors along the way.
Great. Yeah, so the Freedmen's Bureau Transcription Project, like I said, is one of many ongoing projects that hopefully we'll be able to explore a little bit. For us in planning this activity, it's been kind of one of the touchstone examples that we've returned to as we've been exploring ourselves and getting ready to present this project to all of you. So now I think I'd like to hand it over to Chris for a little bit to kind of get into the logistics of it all, I guess.
Yeah. So now we're going to move into a little bit of the how-tos and see an example, work on an example together. The Freedmen's Bureau papers are really the core papers that are available for transcription on the site currently, along with Project Phaedra. Project Phaedra is a very difficult set of papers to get into because it's the female computers from Harvard from back in the day, like before there were actual like the electronic computers. So it's their books on like astronomy and astrophysics computations. So those are on the harder side to get into. So we'll just be primarily working with the Freedmen's Bureau, which is why the introduction was kind of important. Anyways, so how the site works is you can register for an account, but you also don't have to. You can totally do transcription as a guest, which is pretty cool. You'll want to read the instructions, which is what we're going over now. So like if you have any questions, you can always go back to the instructions that they have on the site. They were also emailed to anyone who pre-registered. And then you choose a project and you start going. So the steps that they have written out are first to type what you see. And this can be a little, it feels like it's a little obvious, right? Because it's like, duh, that's what transcription does. but it's really important to think about this as we're preserving history, right? And so misspellings, grammar mistakes, punctuations, word order, that all matters for preserving history. And of course, you got to do the best that you can with it. But you want to try to do what you see, not what you think should be there, right? And that's really hard because as history goes along, words change and all of that. Next up is to keep things simple. So there are certain formatting things that you can put within the transcription to tell someone like, hey, there's an image in here, or, you know, I don't understand something or whatnot. And other systems will also use certain formatting things. The primary one that the Smithsonian uses is double brackets surrounding a question mark. And that basically says, hey, I don't know what this is. I can't read this. But like we'll save that space so that, you know, you can go through the page, fill in the words that you do know, but there might be those question mark points, right? And you can do like an attempted spelling that's also within the brackets and then a question mark with it, right? And so that tells them like, hey, what is that? But we don't, when you are finished with the page and you're submitting it, we don't want to have too many of those brackets around. Next up is images. Like I said, this can be one of the reasons why you might need the double brackets is if there's a photograph, a sketch, a picture, or a stamp or a seal is going to be what you're going to see most often in the Freedmen's Bureau papers. And this is, you open the double brackets and you can write image, or if it's the stamp, you write stamp and then close the double brackets. And then of course you want to try to transcribe whatever's, if there's any text associated with it, like a lot of stamps will have that text inside of the stamp. I already kind of covered the, what if you find a word you can't read, right? So that's the double brackets question mark. And it's really important to keep in mind that every little bit of transcription helps. So like, even if you're just adding a word into a document or like pieces of the conversation, but you really can't figure some of the things out because it's hard to read because of the cursive or the handwriting or the spelling. You do what you can and then make sure to save frequently, which is a step that I skipped. But saving is important. Obviously, if you accidentally go off of the page or your computer crashes or whatever, you want to have those records saved. The other thing that happens within their system, though, is that saving tells the system, hey, I'm still transcribing. So every 10 minutes or so, if you can save your work, that tells the system, hey, I'm still working here. Make sure that the page is still closed to other people who who are also looking to do some transcription. Because when you go into a page, it'll close the page from the main view so people can't like write over while you're trying to type things out. Special characters can be tricky. You know, this is like the Greek letters or special accents or whatever. If you don't know how to do those on your keyboard, it's the same thing like the not understanding of spelling. You can just put the question marks to leave that for someone else who does have that knowledge. And there's ways that you can look that up if you're interested in understanding how to make special characters come up on your computer. Next up is the image manipulation tools. So each of the documents is scanned, right? And there's a bar of image manipulation tools that I'm going to point out when we go into the example next. And it's basically rotate, zoom, pan, maybe you want to flip the image in order to help you like read better, or sometimes the stamp will be upside down. Sometimes there will be notes like running up the margin of the page. So it's really helpful to be able to manipulate the picture so that you can read a little better. And then next is marking for review. So once you're done with a transcription, you'll have two options of either save or marking for review. Marking for review should only happen if there's only one question mark left on the page. If not, you just save it and then you leave it for someone else to go through and help fill in any of the blanks that were left. Yeah, so those are the how-tos, and they may not have made any sense, but we'll be going over, how to use the site right now. So give me just 2 seconds so I can pull the site up. So many windows when you're presenting. There's got to be a way to like do this better, but I don't know what it is at this point.
You're doing great. Everybody talk amongst yourselves.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. See here. Make it big. All right. So this is the Smithsonian website, the Transcription Center website, I should say, because the Smithsonian's really big. I don't know if you guys have explored their website before, but like they have so many departments. It's kind of crazy. So when you come to the page, you can obviously sign up or log in if that's what you choose to do. But like I said before, you definitely do not have to in order to do transcription work. They've got the menu bars up top, and if you're just going into a project, you just press projects, and this page will pop up, right? And so basically this is a list of the different documents that they currently have available for transcription. You'll notice that it has the name of the papers, a little bit about it. You can go to the specific page instructions. Like I said, there's the Project Phaedra, and they have special sets of instructions if anyone's daring enough to try and go through one of those. That you can see they have, how much is complete, and that's going to be the little green bar. Yellow bar usually means those pages are in review, and then the red is someone's done a little bit of that page, and then the empty bar is obviously nothing has been done. And you can also see, they have a couple of other stats, how many pages, how many members have contributed, all of that good stuff, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go into one that I had picked out earlier, and this is Virginia Assistant Commissioner records relating to court cases. So one of the reasons why I picked this one is because it's narrative reports, and one of the easier things to kind of start out with is if there are concise letters or reports, because you get you can kind of start to get a narrative. Whereas if you see a table list or some of the other more form records, it can be a little hard to get into. Right. So to start with, I thought that we would do a little joint work here. So anyone who's comfortable, you can unmute your mics, and we can pick one of the pages and one of the completed pages probably, just to get an idea of like what we think this might be. So I'm pulling up a Word document so that we can't cheat. So we've got the page, and it says, you know, this is page 30 of 255. When you scroll over the image, you can see you've got the zoom, the rotate, making it bigger, flipping it to the side, but you can also just roll your mouse to make the bits bigger. Oh goodness. Maybe
Oh my
this
gosh.
isn't gonna work. Sorry.
Ah!
Sorry.
No, we're good.
So anyone have any thoughts? Do we like the cursive here?
It looks pretty to look at, but trying to read it's another story.
Mhm.
Yeah, transcription is always fun until you actually look at the cursive and you're like, uh-oh.
So you're saying that transcribing is fun until you have to transcribe.
Hey, no.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mm.
it's a fun challenge. That's what we're here for.
Do we think that this one is too hard, or can some
No, I think
people
do
start
it.
to make
Yeah, the
some
first
sense
like
of it?
6 words that's about it. And then it like peters off.
Mhm.
is it an
Okay.
8?
I think the first letter is an H because it has like that slide thingy where it connects the two sides together, so that might be a capital H.
Mhm.
And then I think, is that an A or a D afterwards? HA, HD?
Could be also a P,
This one?
like a
Right, that
PL.
So one of the things that I have learned is that if I'm not sure what the cursive is looking at, I try to go again for the narrative, because you can start to see similarities, right? So if we jump kind of past
Yeah.
some of the kind of crazier things, you know, we can start to make out, like, we know these are Virginia papers, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that's a V
Yeah.
and an A.
So that's a B and an A. And
March.
this is March 26th,
26th.
right?
Right. So that might be a D then, HD, because it has the little line up above it.
Someone said in the chat it's HO for honorable.
Oh,
All right.
Could
I like
be.
that.
Is that like Lancaster, Virginia? That sorry.
Ville, something Ville. Southville?
Isn't it Hattsville?
Oh, sorry, the
This part,
the
this
line
part.
before it.
Yeah.
Hattsville. Gotcha.
Chat is popping off right now.
Hmm. Some real
I
good
think there's a
stuff.
lot of good answers in the chat.
So we're thinking it's Hattsville, Virginia, March.
Sorry, I have a
Did say
general
assistant
question.
supervisor in the title. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, what's your question? Go ahead.
Does the Smithsonian have almost like a cursive cheat sheet? Because I feel like that would be helpful, especially like cursive styles of this era, since people were still using like ink and quill, you know?
Yeah, so they do have a couple of different websites you can go look up. And I was saving that for a bit because I wanted to see like how we were doing. Oh, Huntsville.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean spoilers.
Oh no, it's a great question, of course.
Yeah.
But there is a specific page for historical handwriting. Let's just go to that. So historical handwriting specifically for the Freedmen's Bureau, right? But so like you can see here, like this you might see, right, where it has, I almost see it as like an F and then an S, right? But that's actually how they did double S's, which is kind of a weird thing, right?
Wait, so the M, I, and what looks like to be an F is actually two S's?
Well, it's like this weird
Oh,
F
the long
thing,
F.
and then there's an S
Mhm.
at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a miss right there. And then they have some other like different things that you might see where it's like I said with the spelling, right? So they're saying EVRY is every, but you'd still put the EVRY. And then
Transcribe
there's
it as written.
a couple common Civil War abbreviations as well, which can get really useful. All right. So let's see here.
I suggest
All right. I guess this isn't working as well as I thought that it would. But you guys were right. This was a HD. So this is headquarters, right? HD headquarters. And then it's Heathsville, Virginia, right?
Oh,
But you can start to
somebody
see
had it in the chat.
you can start to see how it might be useful, like if you're not used to seeing the cursive or like it's jarring to your eyes for the first time, to go into one of the already transcribed pieces to kind of make a little more sense of what's going on. I also wanted to point out, just because I think it's really useful, you can make either side bigger or smaller. So if you like really need to get in pretty deep here,
It's super useful.
like you can. All right. Another thing is if a letter goes from one page to the next, right? You're like going along and you finish this one and you're like, I'm ready to go on to the next one. First, you want to, well, this one doesn't have the save button because this is this is already done piece, but you've got the next button here. So you can go to, I do not know why I did this. Let's see here. Does it get better? No. Okay. Usually you can do that. My computer's being weird. Let's just go back to the project page. Another thing that can happen is maybe you were working on a page and you had to go somewhere else, but you want to see like, did someone finish it or can I still finish it up? You can go to the page that you need, right? Or if you're looking for a page that's not done, right? Because they've got all of these full green bars here, you can press the transcription button here and that'll show you only things that still need help, which is kind of a neat trick. So what do we think? Do we want to try a different page or do your guys' brains need a little break and we can go back to presentation?
We can try looking at another one. I mean,
Up for
they
another
they can't all be that bad, right?
one.
Hay suggested we just try to read it out loud and
Okay.
then not even worry about, piece by piece.
It's a good one. All right. So another thing that I will say to note is you'll see a lot of this, right? And this is Bureau, where is it? Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, right? Because that's the bureau that they're a part of, right? So it's R, F, and AL. Yes, exactly. Mary's got it. All right. So anyone want to try starting this one?
What,
No, the first word is office. So it looks like a name. No, county. I think the county, Virginia.
So again, sometimes it can be easier to skip the top part and
Oh,
we could go into like the letter. Let's see here. We've got office, ALA,
something.
Comet, Fairfax, County, Virginia. I think that's
yeah, Fairfax
probably
County, Virginia.
pretty close.
Falls
Then we've got
Church.
Falls Church.
April 30, 1867? 4?
That looks like a 7.
Yeah,
I
I
was-
think it's probably a 7 because
Okay.
the date up at the top.
Oh,
That's a good point.
Yeah. There's a lot of context clues that you can get as well.
Okay.
All right.
I think the next part is captain. That looks like a CAPT. So maybe that or cap.
Yeah. So that's the abbreviation for captain. So you
Is that-
would write the CAPT and then dot.
Yeah.
But in your head, you can know that's captain. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's that looks like an L, a P, and a Lee.
Yeah. It looks like chat says L Peely or S Peely.
Hmm.
Right.
That letter looks a little different than the L on Lee, so I don't know if that's just a L written
Or it's a
slightly
J?
differently, or
Sorry.
Then
Yeah.
you have this crazy letter.
Someone's
That-
thinking
Lieutenant?
Jack.
That's Lieutenant Assistant Commissioner?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
think someone
I
got
think
that
you're right.
abbreviation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys are so
It's
fast.
10th District, Virginia. 10th.
Yeah. Doing good.
Captain. In
It-
compliance with
Circuit?
Circular. It's got a
Oh.
dash in the middle of the
Oh.
word.
Oh, wow.
Oh, circular.
circular number 10, Bureau.
Row. RF.
and
Oh, the same
Yeah.
same
yeah.
region.
The same
Okay.
one from before. Yeah.
Okay.
H something. Is it
HD headquarters.
okay? HD. Second, because that looks like a or is that a
Assistant.
third?
Quarters.
Quarters
So
is a
they're saying
Q.
this is a Q. So
Mhm.
headquarters.
Oh,
Assistant
Commissioner.
Commissioner.
Yeah. Same as the
State
one
State
up
of
here.
Virginia.
yeah.
Dated.
Richmond, Virginia.
March 12th,
March.
1866.
Yeah. So that can be like a weird one because you're like dated Richmond, Virginia. What?
Uh-huh.
But it's
Glad we
dated
know our
Richmond,
numbers.
Virginia,
Mhm.
March
Richmond is a
12th.
place.
Right. So that would be an example of like the word flipping. That would be weird historically,
Mhm.
right?
okay. I have something.
The
The-
honor.
Oh,
the
the
honor.
honor. Okay.
Honor
To report.
That
That
as
as
far
As far as my knowledge.
knowledge extends.
as justice,
Justice
has
has been done.
Done.
the
the-
freedman
Mhm.
By
By
all.
courts
And civil officers.
Mm,
Yeah.
in the
Mm.
Courts. By all
County.
courts.
And civil officers. Offices.
county.
Yeah.
Mhm.
During the past month.
County.
But at the same time,
Mm.
Do you
Do
think
think
that a colored man could not get justice were it not
For the
Yeah.
presence of a
Bureau.
Bureau officer.
oh, interesting.
I am, Captain, very respectfully, your obedient servant.
Wow.
William.
Shields.
Fields.
Very
Right.
fancy signature right there.
Do you think it's William or Mr.? Someone said Mr.
Hmm.
No, I like
No.
William.
How do you-
Yeah, I think that's a W. W.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
WM.
WM.
That's
WM.
William.
So this could be another one of those things that could be helped by a context clue. Some of the page, there's like a list of common officers that'll come up over and over again. Someone says in the chat, the abbreviation for WM is William. It could be, and we could look back maybe at the historical page and see.
I
So
saw
we've
it
got-
when we were scrolling by before, I think.
So we've got common name abbreviations here. John.
There we go.
And there it
Nice.
is, William,
William.
right? And
Love
so
it.
that's one of those things where you would write out the WM, right? And then you could put in the brackets William, or you could put it in the notes at the bottom, right?
Okay, I don't see it. How do you get a W? What? Because all I see is a line up, a line down, and then and then another line down. How do you get a W out of that?
I think it's because it ends up here, and like these things, you know, they were trying to go fast as they could while still doing the pen and the ink thing, right?
Okay.
Signature goals, y'all. Yeah, I like that, Rana.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, very fast cursive.
So I am a slow typer, but you can see there was an attempt made on this page earlier. You press, I just completely went over it, but you press the button that says, yes, I've read the instructions. I kind of know what I'm doing. And that opens the page for transcription. You can see, you know, if you don't know what it is, you can put it in the brackets. You can just put the question mark there. You can do as much as you can or think that you can. The notes are over here. And then in order to make sure that you're not a bot, it's going to ask you a math question before you save or complete and mark for review. And if you come across this page or a page like it, you can take the time and, you know, fill in the correct things, right? So we have circular with a question mark. So I think we agreed that that was probably correct. So maybe we take that out. And then they got this part.
Actually,
then-
circular was misspelled there with the question marks next to it.
Yeah.
So if we're going to submit, we should probably fix the spelling.
So is it correct according to how they wrote it out though?
Let me check. That's why I wanted to ask you to move it back over.
I think so. I think it says CIR. The dot is just a little over the R.
Yeah,
but
the dots
that's
placement
still-
is the questionable part. That
Oh.
they, but
That's
it
an I.
does look like the word circular to
Okay.
me. It's like, what would we do in this case?
Could we read the full sentence to see what the context of that word is?
Okay. So in compliance with circular number 10, Bureau RFA and AL.
Maybe it's
Headquarters.
circulation instead of circular, because
No,
it
the
sounds
op-
like some kind of rule. But I mean, I know we're not supposed to
Oh.
interpret too much.
Like
No, it says circular.
circular
Yeah,
as in like
it's
a memo
circular.
type of thing. Yeah.
I guess
Does it-
it's the question of, is this an IR as they spelled it, or is it an RI?
I think
That
the
they
dot
spelled.
just
I would
moved over.
argue,
I just think
honestly,
the dots
because
are a heck
nothing
of far
else.
away.
Well, and nothing else is really misspelled. So, like, if we had multiple examples of things being misspelled, then it might be safer to make that assumption. But like when you're writing in cursive, you put the dots everywhere. Like, I don't think it's misspelled.
And compliance, the dot is over the A. It's not
Exactly.
misspelled. Yeah.
And look at where the I, like where it says the civil officers in,
it's slanted.
right?
so
The I is just
Exactly.
always going to be
Mhm.
slanted because cursive itself in nature is slanted.
Sure,
circular.
but
That's a
then
good
you have
point.
something like the
That,
like
yeah.
officers, right? And justice.
But
Justice is pretty much in line.
But see, if you look at the justice, like look at the dot of
Is that with a
the
U?
I, it's to the right and up. And so if you look where the I is with circular, it's to the right and up. So if we thought it was CRI, the I dot would have been adjusted to the right more.
You know, this can get, as we can see right now, this can get really not pretentious. What's the word?
Contentious.
Contentious. Yes. There's actually a core group of transcribers who work with the Smithsonian. And like, if you're really into this sort of thing and you make an account, you can do the review part of this. Which would basically be, okay, this one is done and ready for review, and you pull it up and you look at both and you say, okay, this checks out, this checks out, this checks out. And you should hear some of their stories because it's kind of funny. They get really gripey about some of the things where it's like, oh, I can't, this person went through and did all of these pages and they all had this one thing that they did wrong on every single page, which is kind of funny. But I can assure you that if you're one of the other people in this chat who are like, oh, I don't know, like that, you know, makes me feel a little bit like, oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong or something. That's the reason why they have the review process, right? So you add what you can, you do what you can, like this person did here. And then someone else will come along and they'll be able to finish it up a little bit better. And then when it goes in review, it gets even better. And then by the time it hits a Smithsonian worker, it's like good to go, right? So
Yeah,
that
Emily asked in chat, is it generally better to do the double bracket question mark and then leave it up to review? I think the answer is yes, if you're not entirely sure. If you really like what we're doing right now with circulation, you could leave it up to review.
Yeah. If you're unsure about it, just save what you got. You can put it in here and you can say, you know, notes, possible misspelling. Of course, I misspelled possible. Yeah, you guys got me nervous now writing things out. Circular, you know, and then you can just, the person who comes to review will be like, oh no, it's spelled right. Or, oh, they're right. This does look a little bit sus. And then you just save it. And there it is.
It's
All
so
right.
funny to think about a person in 1867, you know, thinking about in 2024, people are going to be debating how the I in this sentence is dotted one way or another. That's amazing.
All right. So let's go back to the presentation for a little bit. Oh man, I have to make this smaller first.
Few more slides, I think.
Yes, so we've got just a couple of slides. And then we can work on some together but apart in the chat and answer any questions. Let me just see if I can find my other page now. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So Rebecca, you take it away.
Yeah. I'll pick it back up. So as Chris kind of alluded to, there are different digital volunteer roles. So that's what Smithsonian calls their volunteer corps, digital volunteers. We're going to be doing, as we just saw, the first part of the initial transcription. I don't think any of us are going to be doing any reviewing or approving. We kind of leave that up to the big wigs. Yeah, so you can choose any project that you like. and then find pages within that to transcribe. A lot, the projects are just, there are hundreds of pages, as we saw with different progress throughout them. So there's definitely a lot to do. Yeah, and the big thing is to type what you see as best you can. It's all about that accuracy, the accuracy of the transcription matching what's in the original document. So if captain was spelled wrong, we would transcribe it the way it's written in the original document. Yeah, so just want to hammer that home a little bit. But I think we can, yeah, thank you, Chris. You're ahead of me a little bit. All right, so here are just a few more helpful tips and tricks as we begin getting underway with this project a little more. Remember to save often, ask for help if you need it, or just move on if you do get too stuck. All contributions are valid and useful. And we also really encourage you, as Chris was mentioning with the narrative records, to look for stories within these documents. Things like diary entries and letters might have a lot to unpack, like there might be a ton of words on a single page, but these can provide context for future researchers that tell us about the thoughts and attitudes of the people who lived these histories. We just saw William Shields. Who was he? What was he doing? Why was he writing that letter? As someone said in the chat, like, I need to know more about Mr. Shields. Come on. Next slide, please.
So I switched it up on you a little bit, and I put because I thought this made a little more sense. So we want to encourage you throughout the process this week, if you continue to transcribe with us throughout the week, to start thinking about these stories or thinking about like how these things relate to a larger context. So this can be helpful for your e-portfolio evidence as well, by creating a blog or an infographic about either the stories that you find or about even the process itself. It can help you process what you're learning, and provide, this tangible piece that you can point to and say, ah, yes, I did this. Right.
Yeah, so we're really looking, SASE and ASIS are here also to help you create tangible evidence to use in your e-portfolio or hang on your fridge, I guess your digital fridge, whatever you like. But yeah, we'll start to wrap up here. Thank you again to everyone for coming tonight, and hello to those of you watching in the future. As we saw with the samples that we tried out, this can be an independent or a collaborative activity. So with regards to collaboration, we'll be hosting pop-ups in the SASE Discord throughout the week. If folks want to pop in, pop up, pop wherever, and talk about what they've been working on. Maybe you found a sentence or a segment that is just impossible almost, but that's the great thing that we saw. You may not be able to read it, but someone else might be able to, and you can kind of work through it together. Yes, so we've created new voice and text channels in the SASE Discord just for the Transcribe-a-thon. We've also got a resources document, a Google Doc, that has all the important links, tips, tricks, and other resources. It's a resources document for you to use throughout the week. Yes, and for example, the transcription.si.edu/tips can be really helpful. And I know folks were asking about the handwriting cheat sheet from the Smithsonian. I think we can distribute that as well. Oh yeah, and up at the top of this slide is very important. Join us next week, May 6th, for part 2. Actually, we might be able to move on to the next slide because I think there was one more slide.
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect. Yes. So mark your calendars for not the same time next week, but next Monday, May 6th. We're going to wrap up the Transcribe-a-thon at 1 p.m.
Oh,
that's not,
it's Pacific. It got written wrong.
4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We are accommodating. We're so excited to welcome some staff from the Smithsonian Transcription Center to come talk to us about virtual participatory archives, harnessing a volunteer workforce to really work through these documents and engage more with archival materials.
And it's kind of cool because the 2 speakers that we were able to get to come to the call, one works more with kind of harnessing the volunteer workforce. Her name is Emily, and she hosts office hours every month for the Transcription Center, which is pretty cool. And then a coworker of hers who focuses mainly on the technical aspects of like, how does this site work? What are you using? And what are like more the technical requirements of being able to host something like this to help an archive out, which is pretty neat, I think.
Yeah, we're so excited to be able to have them speak with us. And yeah, again, it's 1 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, it is.
1 p.m. Pacific. They're on the East Coast, just like me. So for them, the 4 p.m. time is what works. And we hope that many of you, as many as possible, will be able to join us again. But we know with the time difference, it might not be quite as possible, but that meeting will be recorded as well. Yeah, so we're kind of using these 2 Mondays to bookend a week of our own SJSU Transcribe-a-thon. But of course, if it's something that interests you, if you find that you try it out this week and you really like it, you're not limited to April 29th to May 6th. You can keep working at it. Of course, the SASE Discord will always be there, probably.
And then the last speaker, I don't know if it was the last speaker that you guys had. It was one of the last speakers that you guys had, the archivist from MIT, right?
Oh, yeah,
when someone had brought up the Transcribe-a-thon, she had said, oh yeah, I used the Transcription Center as a way to practice my transcription work in order to get the job that I had. So it really works. You practice your skills and hopefully,
get a job.
Yeah, hopefully we'll all get jobs. If there are any questions at this point, now would be a great time to ask.
Yeah, that's it from your fearless leaders of this project. If you have anything on mic or in the chat, feel free. I know we're also at time pretty much, so that's fine too.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you guys will take the chance to do some transcription work this week and find some of those stories.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. A little challenging, but mostly fun.
But we've got those 3 days for sure. But we're going to be staff in the SASE Discord during those specific hours So you can definitely pop in and work there. Or even just put your questions in the chat text channel.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yeah, that'll be the best place. I mean, Sassy and ASIS do have club email accounts, which you're welcome to reach out to us there. But we're really trying to focus the Transcribe-a-thon itself into the Sassy Discord Transcribe-a-thon channels on Discord. So and yeah, we should update the Discord office hours. I think it's in the resources document.
I don't know. They're not in here.
Secret.
They're in our planning document. We could put them up there though.
Yeah. It'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think. Gosh. There are 3 days though that we're doing office hours.
Yes.
Together.
And just in case anyone missed it, I know there was a question in the chat about where do we go? How do we do these things in case we forget? So the resources doc, I linked it again in the chat. And we can probably make a tiny URL and that in the Discord as well as like a pinned message so people can get to it.
Okay. That's a good idea. Okay. That's it.
It's 6:03. Thanks for coming, everyone. And we hope to see you around the Discord.
Yeah. Happy transcribing, everyone.
And good luck with the rest of the semester.
Yeah. Good luck.